Tim Black at Night Show is brought to you by none other than TimBlackTV.com. If you're a fan of this show, please subscribe and let's get it going, y'all. Woo. Yeah. Here we go. How you guys doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black at Night Show, where we give you news for people who can't stand the news. That's right. We're going to get in. We got a number of stories we want to get to today. We give you the latest breaking news of what happened over the last 24 hours. I'd like to start off with record-breaking breaking news about Stormy Daniels' lawyer. You may remember this gentleman. His name is Michael Avenatti. He has been on a lot of talk shows and a lot of news programs discussing, if not Stormy Daniels, Donald Trump. And also, he did represent one of the women who said that Kavanaugh, the new Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, had committed some form of sexual abuse or sexual assault. That's Michael Avenatti. Well, Michael Avenatti earlier today was arrested on the charges of felony domestic violence. Felony domestic violence. That was the charge that was reported from TMZ and BuzzFeed, and then a number of other news outlets ran with the story. Well, I was on Twitter earlier today, and someone sent me a message telling me that some of the reporting in the earlier stories were not true, that Michael Avenatti, someone alleged that Michael Avenatti was being charged by his estranged wife, who he filed divorce from early last year, actually 2017. And the reporter said on Twitter that they spoke to his estranged wife and that there was no altercation between the two, and any such allegation was false. So just to bring you up to speed, so I'm not exactly sure who the woman was that claims that Michael Avenatti assaulted her, but someone did make that claim. And according to the documentation that we'll go into further, there were injuries that this person visibly showed injuries. So that's why Michael Avenatti was taken into custody. But just before going to a broadcast tonight, Michael Avenatti was released on bail. And he made this statement. Here we go. Michael Avenatti. Here at a press conference that he did briefly after being released.
LAPD for their professionalism and their work today. The hardworking. First of all, I want to thank the hardworking men and women of the LAPD for their professionalism and their work today. They had no option in light of the allegations. Secondly, I have never struck a woman. I never will strike a woman. I have been an advocate for women's rights my entire career, and I'm going to continue to be an advocate. I am not going to be intimidated from stopping what I am doing. I am a father to two beautiful, smart daughters. I would never disrespect them by touching a woman inappropriately or striking a woman. I am looking forward to a full investigation, at which point I am confident that I will be fully exonerated. I also want to thank everyone for their support that has reached out. You know my character, you know me as a man, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. So that's the statement that Avenatti made. Let's see if we can get me back on the screen with Avenatti. We're going to use Avenatti as a backdrop. All right, there we go. Let's use him as a backdrop. So let's look a little bit closer to these charges, because Avenatti clearly stated that he's going to be exonerated. He welcomes the opportunity to defend himself, and that what's been charged is just not true. But he also says he praises the LAPD and says they had no choice. So that leads me to believe that there were injuries visible on this woman who made these allegations. All right? So if they had no choice, they must have had some evidence. All right? So The outspoken attorney Michael Avenatti, who represents porn star Stormy Daniels, as we stated earlier, was indicted. The alleged incident, not indicted, he was picked up on an incident, okay? We don't know what's going to happen at this point. The alleged incident occurred Tuesday, and a report was taken, police said. Avenatti was arrested Wednesday afternoon in the 1000 block of Santa Monica Boulevard by officers with the West Los Angeles station. He was held on a $50,000 bond or bail on suspicion of domestic violence with injuries and was released later on a bail Wednesday evening, just a couple hours ago. So, yeah, and as he stated, he says, I have never struck a woman. I will never strike a woman. I've been an advocate for women my entire career, and I'm going to continue to be an advocate. I'm not going to be intimidated from stopping what I'm doing. What you trying to say, Michael Avenatti? Are you suggesting that this woman set you up to try to stop you from doing what you're doing? I mean, because you said you're not going to be intimidated from stopping from what I'm doing. I'm not going to be intimidated from stopping what I'm doing. Are you saying that you're not blaming the police because you said you just gave them praise and said they did what they had to do. They had to come get a brother. So the cops are not at fault. Is the woman at fault? Who's at fault here? You said you're an advocate for women. Are you saying the women faked their own injuries? Hey, you know, as much as I'm like, everyone's talking about Michael Avenatti being a contender for the Democratic nomination in 2020. And as much as that doesn't sit well with me, I don't want to see anybody get railroaded for something they didn't do. I can't rock with that. Even though, I think it's premature to be like, oh, I like this guy. He can beat Trump because he can talk. Even though I don't like that type of thinking, I think it leads to all types of problems and BS we don't really need in this country. We're doing bad enough. We don't need to just run a guy because you think he can be disagreeable. He might piss Trump off and they could argue on stage or something. Like, that's not enough for me. I would like a little bit of policy. I like to know what a person stands for, and they have a track record of doing stuff like actually working for the causes they say matter. That's what I would like to see. But I'm going to lay all that aside and say this. If Michael Avenatti has been framed, if somebody set him up to shut him up, if someone had him locked down in order to shut him down, well, I'm not going to agree with that either. Because I'm willing to set aside my bias and say, let the facts be what they're going to be. But it look like Michael Avenatti's got a conspiracy theory going on over here. Sound like a little bit conspiracy theory to me. He said he won't be intimidated and stopped from doing what he's been doing. What you've been doing, Michael Avenatti, is jumping in front of every camera that will have you and talking about Stormy Daniels. Now, we would like you to stop doing that, but I don't know what else he's doing. He says, I'm looking for a full investigation, at which point I'm confident I will be fully exonerated. He called the allegations completely bogus and fabricated. Oh, so we hadn't got to that part. We hadn't got to that part. Man, so are you saying, Avenatti, that the wounds that this woman displayed to the police officers, did she display wounds? Because they said it's with wounds. That's what they said. The charges were. Let's back up, everybody. Hold on. Avenatti was held on a $50,000 bail on suspicion of domestic violence with injuries. Now, can you just say, I'm injured? I'm injured. Can you just pull an Ezell from Friday and be like, my neck and my back? My neck and my back. Or do you have to actually show them? Like, look right here. This is what he had did. Him right there. Him did that. How does this work, guys? Inquiring minds want to know. I've been married way too long. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it works. Some of you brothers that have been caught up in the legal system over this, does she have to show that you did something? Can she just say I'm injured without any injuries being visible? So I'm curious, guys. Let me know. Let me know in the comment section, man or female, because some of y'all women, you know, you may know better than some of the guys. So hey, equal opportunity abuser and victim of false allegations, please step forward. But Michael Avenatti says, hey man, this is bogus, completely bogus. Not a little bit bogus, a whole lot of bogus. Like somebody selling you some Sykes instead of some Nikes. The alleged victim in relationship to Avenatti was not identified. So we still don't know who the woman is. We still don't know what Avenatti's saying about, how, if these injuries actually happened or not. Or did we have a case of a woman throwing herself down some steps face first? Or I saw the movie with a woman, what was it? It's an old movie. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle? No, that's not the one. The one where Michael Douglas, right? Where the woman beats herself up. She's like, beat herself up. Then she called the cops and said he did it. Come on, guys. Somebody knows it in my comment section. It's an old movie. It's one of those classics. If you are a millennial, you may never have heard of this movie, but it's a movie. A guy cheats on his wife, and then the woman he's cheating with, she said, I got something for you. You think you're going to go back to your wife? Well, I'll fix that. You have to be quicker than that. Oh, you don't have to be quicker than that. So anyway, guys, this is what we got on Avenatti. Like I said, I'm going to put my bias aside. I will wait. I will reserve judgment. I want to hear what he has to say. But man, somebody gonna make a lot of money on YouTube and all these other social media networks putting out video content when you start opening the door for like fabrications and bogus, completely bogus allegations. Like, I can hear him now. They just want to stop him because he could beat Trump. So they're trying to stop him. He could win the White House for the Democrats, and now they're coming up with. All right, give it up for that. Give it up for that. All right. Now, guys, I got a couple other stories we can get to here that I think are important. I think that you care about. But you know what? After talking about Avenatti, I feel like I got a little bit of dirt on me. Like, you guys want to hear some real stuff. This article, based on a new report that was just released, is so devastating, right? Let me put a graphic up here just to describe this, what we're talking about here. All right, get me off the screen for a second. Let me set the stage for this article, guys. This is about the cost of war. And as you can see here, Ryan F. Coyer, U.S. Army, Afghanistan, Iraq, young man, born in 1985, died in 20. I can't see the rest of that, but that's the cost of war. One of the costs of war are needless deaths. Needless deaths of U.S. soldiers and needless deaths of those people whom we have occupied their land or whom we sent troops into their land, or civilians or what have you. Okay, so there's all types of cost of war. One of the reasons why I'm such an advocate for ending interventionist wars, unnecessary wars, wars of greed, wars of resources need to be stopped at all costs. And I will stand for that till my dying day. Okay? Well, there's a new report, guys. A new report here that talks about another cost of war. And that cost is dollars and cents. The U.S. has spent $6 trillion on wars that killed 500,000 people since 9/11. So there we got the cost in the body count of 500,000 people, at least, and $6 trillion. since 9/11 has been spent. Now, this is information that has been collected by Brown University's Watson Institute for International and Public Affairs. They published their annual Cost of War report on Wednesday. Now, it takes into consideration the Pentagon's spending and its overseas contingency operations account, as well as war-related spending by the Department of State. Past and obligated spending for war veterans care, interest on the debt incurred to pay for the wars, and the prevention of and response to terrorism by the Department of Homeland Security. So this is a very comprehensive, very detailed accounting of the actual cost. This is covering it all. $6 trillion. You know, whenever we bring up the cost of war, us nutty people who are anti-war, we have these people that call themselves patriots. And they say, well, we support our country. But you should not support bad actions by your country just because it's your country doing it. You know, just like you wouldn't support your son or daughter if they did a horrific act. You wouldn't support a spouse if they went out and they did things they shouldn't do, if they harmed others, if they did things that you just don't believe are good or wholesome or make any damn sense at all. And in this case, murderous. You don't have to support it. You shouldn't support it. Not in good conscience anyway. You don't just support something because it's your side doing it. Get what I'm saying? All right, so the United States has appropriated and is obligated to spend an estimated $5.9 trillion in current dollars on the war on terror through fiscal year 2019, including direct war and war-related spending and obligations for future spending on 9/11 war veterans. Now, here goes a quote I'd like to share with you. In sum, high costs in war or war-related spending pose a national security concern because they are unsustainable. The public will be better served by increased transparency and by the development of a comprehensive strategy to end the wars and deal with other urgent national security priorities. You know, such as technology. You know, with all this talk about Russia and China, you know, stealing our elections, well, it would seem that maybe you would want to put money into cyber warfare, not actual buying of bombs and drones, the manufacturing of these warhead missiles. That's what I would think. I mean, if we're in a new age now of technology where that's where the battleground is, just, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm kooky. Maybe, you know, once again, I'm one of those weird anti-war people, very unpatriotic, not wanting to send men and women into unnecessary wars, not wanting to invade other countries, not wanting to kill civilians accidentally, you know, because we have so many accidents. Now, this part right here, what I'm about to share to you, when I read this initially, and I'd heard it before, but this, I want everybody to pull it a little bit closer because I want you to really listen to this part. Because up to now, I may not have convinced you that we need to pull back on our military, that us stepping back on our military would be a good idea, and that we are totally a warlike people. Wednesday's report found that the U.S. military is conducting counter-terror activities in 76 countries, or about 39% of the world's nations, vastly expanding its mission across the globe. In addition, these operations have been accompanied by violations of human rights and civil liberties in the U.S. and abroad. I mean, is there really anything else that needs to be said? 76 countries. 39% of the world's nations. We are there. But you remember what Bush said? Bush said, they hate us for our freedom. Maybe they hate us because we're there. Maybe they want us to take our ass home. Maybe they want to just live their lives. Maybe. These are all maybes. And maybe these people on this new nationalistic, patriotic kick need to really think about what type of impact we're having around the globe. We're violating human rights, not just in other countries, but in our own country. Overall, researchers estimated between 480,000 and 507,000 people have been killed in the U.S. post 9/11 wars in Iraq. Not just Iraq, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. The toll does not include the more than 500,000 deaths from the war in Syria that have been raging since 2011. Folks, once again, the name of this report, for anybody who wants to go check it out, I encourage everybody to take a look at it. It's the Brown University Watson Institute for International and Public Affairs. Its title is The Cost of War. I don't have any witty quips. I don't have any one-liners. I don't have any roast material for this one, man. It's just shameful. It's heartbreaking. To feel powerless as your country, like we say, like Tupac said. Let me just quote Tupac. Got money for war, but can't feed the poor. And if we question, why do we need to spend so much money on war? Why can't we redirect those funds to taking care of people here domestically, people within our own country? Because you know you're on this nationalistic thing. You tell us that we don't love our country, that we're unpatriotic, because we want to help the people in our country and avoid death and murder and mayhem and the financial and the human cost of war across the globe. All right, y'all. All right, it just don't make no damn sense, y'all. It don't make any damn sense. All right. Where are we here? Let's get that out of here. And that's enough to just make you just make you just want to, I don't know. Well, this is where I want to remind everybody that if you're watching this show, wherever you're watching it at right now, I want you to know that you can trust that you are not watching media that is funded by any political party or any political arm or business arm of a political party or PAC or any of that stuff. See, what we do here on this show is for the people. I'm a regular people that's doing this show. I've been doing this for the last 5, 6 years, 7 years, 6, 7 years. And if you value news given to you in a different way, if you value independent media that's not controlled by the DNC or the GOP or the Republicans or the Democrats or any of their extensions, any legs or ligaments of those organizations, won't you become a member of this show by going to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live, or finding me on YouTube, or contacting me directly using the email address, tim@timblacktv.com. If you want it told straight, you can't go with folks who are controlled by corporations and controlled by political parties. They just can't do it. They have to adhere to the rules of the organizations that own them. All right, guys. All right. Now, this next story that I have for you, when I heard this, first of all, it's a disturbing story, so just get ready to be disturbed. And then get ready to be a little pissed off about how people think that they don't think that you have any intelligence whatsoever. Okay, so there's this woman. Her name is Cindy Hyde Smith. She's a Republican. She's out of Mississippi. She made a joke recently that didn't quite go over. You know, this joke didn't really land like it should land. You know, I got a clip of her making this joke. It's very short. I'd like to play it for you. Yeah. That would, of course, that would be it. Okay, where she is? There she is. It's going to be very short. So they've been covering this on all networks. Here we go.
His support.
He invited me to a public hanging at me on the front row.
Let's try that one more time. A couple more times.
His support.
He invited me to a public hanging at me on the front row.
His support.
He invited me to a public hanging at me on the front row.
Now, if you couldn't hear it, you can read the text yourself here, but I'll just read it to you. It says, if he invited me to a public hanging, I'd be on the front row. Now, I know some of y'all thinking, that sounds like a joke. That's funny. If he invited me to a public hanging, I'd be on the front row. It's sort of like, you know, a way of paying respect. Like, hey, man, anything for you. I'd even show up at a public hanging. I know some of you may be a little offended by it because maybe you realize that she's from Mississippi. She's running for office in Mississippi. In Mississippi, public hangings meant lynchings. And Mississippi happens to be the number one, or was the number one record holder for lynchings of black people. And she happens to be in a political race against a black man. And once again, it is Mississippi, where they lynch more people than anywhere else. Now, when you hear all of those things put together, maybe we see eye to eye and we're both thinking, why would you say something so damn stupid? Why would you even go there if it wasn't part of the way you joke, you know, regularly? Like maybe this is just how you and your people get down. You know, like when I grew up, we did what's called the deserts or joning. Now they call it roasting, right? But back in the day, that's what we used to do. Maybe this is the way they, you know, signifies another term people use sometimes. You know, we had ways. We had your mama jokes, your mama so fat jokes, your car so broke jokes. You know, we had these types of jokes. Maybe this is just Miss Cindy's way of how she, like, communicates with her and her friends, you know? You know, when they want to compliment one another, they talk about lynchings. Right? So here goes, so now that you understand the context, here goes a little bit about the article, or a little bit from the article. A backlash against Senator Cindy Hyde Smith, Republican. Public hanging joke is shaking up the Senate runoff race in Mississippi, prompting Republican concerns about their chances of retaining the deep red state. A video shared by a blog on Sunday showed Hyde Smith, who's running in the special election for the former Senator Thad Cochran, also a Republican seat, joking that she'd be on the front row should a supporter she was campaigning with invite her to a public hanging. The joke drew sharp criticism, as it should, in a state with a history of lynchings and a significant amount of African Americans in its population. It also came amidst a recently concluded national campaign season that has featured controversial remarks about race. So, okay, the backlash came. She's like, oh no, backlash is coming. Instead of denying, she couldn't deny that it was on tape, but instead of saying, hey, you know what, guys, I made a mistake. I was joking. I didn't mean it the way you think I meant it. I meant it in a good way. I don't know how to make me saying I would go to a lynching sound good, but I meant it in a good way. Actually, I do get, come on, guys, we know exactly why she couldn't, come clean. Like, we know why she couldn't come clean. She couldn't come clean because there's no way to clean this shit up. There's just nothing to say. We say all the time, like, why this person just can't admit they screwed up? Because it would be career suicide is why. You got to play dumb sometimes, right? Because what she said is so horrible. I mean, even David Duke is like, damn, you said that? Then what happened? This is going to be a story. She's going to be able to tell her grandbabies. You understand? They're going to be talking about this long after she's gone. She's going to be known as that Mississippi Republican senator Senate race who was just like, didn't give a damn about black folks at all, just said whatever crawled out of her ass. Just said it. So, but one thing that Cindy has going for her is she has the support of the Mississippi governor, Mr. Phil Bryant. I have a little clip of Phil Bryant backing up his friend, Cindy Hyde-Smith. Check it out.
Absolutely, we have been sensitive to race relations in this state. I brought the President of the United States here to open the Civil Rights Museum. And African-American leadership that would fail to even come to the event because the President of the United States was there. Today I talked about the genocide of over 20 million African-American children. You see, in my heart, I am confused about where the outrage is at about 20 million African-American children that have been aborted. No one wants to say anything about that. No one wants to talk about that.
So, as you can hear, I hope you can hear that. I hope you can hear that. The governor of Mississippi, Mr. Phil Bryant, his way to respond to the criticism of the woman that he supports who just made light of lynching in a state where lynching occurred more than any other state in the United States, is to say, hey, look over there at that squirrel. Look at that squirrel run. Oh, no. No, he didn't say that. I mean, what he said was even worse. Because what he's doing is, he's like, look at abortion. Yeah, if you cared about black people, you shouldn't let black people end pregnancies. Because that's exactly the same thing. I mean, we all know a woman deciding that she don't want to be pregnant or a woman terminating a pregnancy is just like someone dragging your child or your husband or your wife out of the house and throwing a rope over a tree, hanging them, and then cutting off their body parts and selling them. It's the same thing, man. It's exactly the same thing. They used to peel off the skin and cook it, save it for souvenirs. People would put it on their mantles. That's exactly like someone saying, ooh, I don't want to be pregnant anymore. I was raped. I don't want to have a baby. Or I'm too young to have a child. Let me stop this pregnancy. I feel really bad. Let me talk to my priest and my pastor. Let me talk to my mama. I can't believe it. It's identical to what happened to Emmett Till when the lady lied and said, hey, this black boy, he whistled at me. And when they came and grabbed him out of his grandmama's house, and he was never seen alive again. But he was tortured and shot and mutilated and thrown in the Chakahauchi, the Kukachachi. You know that river, one of those rivers over there. It's exactly the same thing as someone deciding they didn't want to have a child after they've been pregnant. And, you know, there's a challenger to Miss Clyde, Cindy Hyde-Smith. She has a challenger by the name of Mike Espy. Mike Espy is a Democrat, and they're in a runoff election. I don't know anything at all about Mike Espy. No, other than he's a black guy, other than he's a Democrat. And I don't need to know anything else about him for me to support him over this heifer. See, because people like Cindy, they need to go away. They very badly need to go away. You know, I don't expect everybody to love everybody. I would wish that we cared about each other, but I can't expect that, okay? I can't expect it. We got too many people that have bitterness and sicknesses and disease and mental capacity, lack of imagination, lack of empathy for their fellow man. So I can't expect us all to love one another. But damn it, we can't expect public officials who are elected on our tax dollars not to be flaming, racist, bigoted, white supremacist pieces of shit like Cindy Hyde-Smith. Yeah, we can expect that. We can, even in Mississippi, we can expect that. Like, we can demand that these people go the fuck away. Just away. You ain't got to die. You ain't got to leave the state, but we don't have to employ you. So anybody in Mississippi who's watching this show, anybody with family in Mississippi, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your religion is or if you're religious at all. I don't care what your orientation is. I do not care what your gender is. All right? What I care is that this woman who thinks it's funny to make jokes about the humiliation, the torture, the murder of people just because they had a different skin color. Vote her ass out. Do not let her represent your state anymore. Do not. And please have long memories about Phil Bryant. Phil Bryant is also a piece of shit, because the only thing worse than someone who is a bigoted, backwater, bombastic, blowhard, pathetic racist is someone who would support a bombastic, blowhard, bigoted, bombastic racist. Give it up for that. Yeah, give it up for that, guys. Lord have mercy. Come on, Tim Black. It's taking too long. All right. I got a couple other stories real quick I'd like to run through to you. See this woman on the screen? Her name is Brenda Snipes. Brenda Snipes does not need to be employed by the state of Florida. Well, she doesn't. She does not need to be employed by the state of Florida. She does not need to be employed by the Broward County Board of Elections. The reason why is she is incompetent and incapable of doing her job. I tell you that not because I have a problem with black women or because I don't want black women to have jobs and I'm some weird guy who doesn't think women should be able to hold positions. I think women should hold positions. In fact, I think in some cases women are much more suited for certain jobs or certain positions. Maybe this country would be better off if we had more women running stuff. A lot of these guys need to go. So that's not my thinking at all. The reason why I say that Brenda Snipes does not need that job is because she has proven time and time again that she is not good at that job. She's not good at that job because in 2016, as the supervisor of the Board of Elections for Broward County, she could not keep up with the damn ballots. When asked what the ballots are, she came up with stories. And then it finally came out that she had destroyed the ballots that she was supposed to keep for a certain amount of time. She didn't even keep it for half the amount of time she was instructed to keep the ballots. She lied, and then she lost a lawsuit. But Governor Rick Scott did not terminate her, though he could have. Fast forward to 2018. Similar garbage went on in Florida. Broward County. Brenda Snipes. Man, this is not baseball, people. You don't get to keep sucking at your job when your job is to protect the voting rights of the people in your state. Nah, you don't get to keep being bad at the shit. Or at least you shouldn't. Now, Donald Trump wants a local Florida elections official fired over conspiracy theories with zero evidence. President Trump, as he is wont to do, has called for the firing of a person he disagrees with. On Wednesday, Trump inserted himself into Florida politics at a granular level when he told conservative news outlet The Daily Caller that he believes Florida state official Brenda Snipes should be removed from her duties as the Broward County Supervisor of Elections. See, I tell you guys, I call out Trump because lately he has given me so much to call him out for. I will not shy away from calling out Donald Trump. But that does not mean that Donald Trump is always wrong about everything he ever says. Of course, he's a disagreeable human being. He lacks the professionalism for the job. I feel like he is full of shit very often. He uses Twitter like a madman. But that doesn't mean he's wrong about Brenda Snipes, though. That's a totally different situation. In fact, these people on the left who are supporting Brenda Snipes because she's a black woman disrespect all black women who are competent and good at their jobs. In fact, I'll go a step further and say I don't believe that Brenda Snipes is as incompetent as we think she is. I believe that there is more at play in Florida. Now, I have no way to prove this. Others are on the job. But I'll tell you, folks, I'm not one of those people to just believe, oh, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Like, it's just so many times I want to hear you made a mistake. Eventually, it's like, you know what? You're making mistakes on purpose, mofo. So, Donald Trump's not wrong. Brenda Snipes should have been removed 2 years ago. She damn sure needs to be removed now. Now, Donald Trump may not have the same reasons for wanting Brenda Snipes removed as I do. I want to remove because I respect the right to vote. I respect the people of Florida. I respect the candidates such as Tim Canova who Brenda Snipes should not have anything to do with this process. At all. She should have lost her ability to have any control or any supervisory role or capacity to manage our voting in Florida. Donald Trump's reasons may be totally different. But you know what? I don't care what his reasons are. He's right. We may want the same thing for different reasons. What matters is that thing gets done. Brenda Snipes needs to go. They need to not have a new recount. They need to have a new election. That's what I suggest. That's what I think. Now, we know what's going to happen there in Florida. DeSantis and Gillum are going to be recounted, revisited. They're going to look at the numbers again as possible. Then Gillum, just like what's going on in Georgia with Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams, it looks like they're going to end up in a runoff situation there because they keep finding all these votes. Well, look, guys, I wish there was a better way to determine who's doing what. But as it stands, if they find a vote, they have to count the vote. They can't just not count the vote because it's not for your guy. All right? So I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with that. As far as what's happening in Georgia, quick update on that. By Friday, we should know if there's going to be a runoff in the Georgia election for governor. So I'll keep you up to date regarding what's going on in Florida and what's going on in Georgia. But know this, Brenda Snipes, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's not paranoia. She lost a lawsuit about voting. She did not follow the procedures of the office that she oversees. She does not even deny that. It's not a conspiracy theory. If it's true, pull your head out your ass. All right. I'm gonna give you an update on this story. This is a. Let me move this guy over here. This fucking guy, man. Excuse my French guy. This guy right here is a real piece of dog shit. All right. And look, those are harsh words, right? I know there may be some children watching, but this guy is horrible. And in fact, guys, this guy right here, his name is Bayless. Right? Isn't that his name? Bayless. Yeah, this guy. All right. Real quick. Give me 90 seconds. Tyler Barris. like Harris with a B. Tyler Burris, 26, pled guilty on Tuesday to making a false report resulting in a death after he placed a hoax call last year that resulted in police fatally shooting an unarmed man in Wichita, Kansas. That's right. Tyler Burris, 26, he did what's called swatting. Yeah, that's when you call up the police and you say, someone at this address who I'm pissed off with, has somebody under that he's kidnapping or he's holding somebody at gunpoint. You need to hurry and get there real quick. Get there real quick. He's got a gun and he's got hostages. And then the SWAT team goes to the place and they're all pumped up. They're all pumped up on adrenaline and 40 ounces or Red Bulls or whatever they drink. Donuts, Red Bull, and adrenaline. And they run in. And what happened is in this Wichita, Kansas incident, a young man's life was taken. A young man's life was taken. Prosecuting U.S. Attorney Stephen McAllister told the Wichita Eagle he will recommend that Burris be sentenced to 20 years in prison, providing he writes apology letters to police, dispatchers, and the family of Andrew Finch, a 28-year-old father who was shot by police who responded to the hoax call that Tyler Burris made. Tyler Burris could face up to 20 years, and I would like for him to face up to 20 years. In fact, I would support him facing more than 20 years. There are some things you do that sorry is not enough. All right? And this is one of them. There's a son who's going to grow up without a father, a son or a daughter who's going to grow up without a father because Tyler Burris thought it was cool to SWAT. If there are some young people watching this show and some not so young people, because this is a grown-ass man. He wasn't 13 when he did this. He wasn't 14 or 15. He was 25 years old when he did this. Fuck him and lock him up. All right, guys. Hey, man, I can't clean it up. I can't make it better. It's got to be what it's got to be. All right. We said some good things about Trump tonight. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. He deserves that. There's something else going on that I think deserves some level of appreciation or support. Donald Trump has agreed, or it looks like he's going to agree, to back sentencing reform, as in criminal justice reform. And he hits Bill Clinton for the 1994 crime bill. That's a two-for right there. That's two things. All right, so here it goes. Trump's backing for the package, which is still being drafted in the Senate, has been seen as a key factor providing political cover for Republicans and Democrats to vote for the overhaul. Trump framed the package as a bid to fix President Bill Clinton's 1994 anti-crime law. That's right. President Trump pledged his support for a major overhaul of sentencing laws and prisoner reentry programs at the White House on Wednesday. Trump's backing for the package, which is still being drafted, as I stated, would diminish criminal penalties for some offenders and make it easier for former inmates to find work. And here's the statement that Trump said. Trump said, it rolls back some of the provisions, the Clinton crime law, that disproportionately harmed African Americans in the African American community. At the same time, he praised a bipartisan push for reevaluating criminal justice issues, even though none of the lawmakers who joined him at the White House were Democrats. So there's one more quote I'd like to share. President Trump's endorsement of the bipartisan criminal justice reform compromise is an important step in our shared effort to promote safe communities and improve justice. By preparing inmates bound for release to become productive citizens, we can reduce crime and the social and economic cost of incarceration, and by ensuring that and ensuring that the punishments fit the crimes, we can better balance the scales of justice. That was Senator Chuck Grassley, Senator Richard Durbin, and that's a joint statement that they released. So guys, I don't know everything there is to know about this bill that the Senate is introducing, but we will definitely look into it here because I definitely support criminal justice reform. But it's important to know that this reform would be on a federal level. So the federal level is one just one area. The majority of our prisoners, the majority of people that are in prison in the United States are in prison in state prisons, local prisons. So we need to also look there to follow suit if this is to pass. I expect this to pass. If this is introduced in the Senate and Trump supports it, I'm pretty sure most Republicans will go with it. And I believe that the Democrats, well, let's just say the Democrats better pass it if it goes to the House. I said they better pass it if it goes to the House. So I'm encouraged by it, but make no mistake, there's more to be done and at the state and local level. And it's a good way to send Jeff Beauregard Sessions out. Right, as soon as he leaves, good shit happen. I like it. I like it. Told you it was a good thing Jeff Sessions was getting out. Not mad at him being fired at all. It's already panning out. Bye, Jeff. Well, all this time, I'm a firm believer in justice for all. You're a firm believer in bigotry and locking up black people and throwing away the key. You have Jeff Beauregard Sessions. That was his job. That's what he was there to do. Screw him. All right, guys, thank you for hanging in there. I got one last story. I know I got a lot going on. I want to cover this for you. It's very interesting. Very interesting here, guys. Now, we've covered on this channel what happened with Jim Acosta. We covered the whole run-in that happened during that press conference where the White House aide tried to take the microphone from Jim Acosta, and then Jim Acosta didn't want to give it up, and then it was, then Donald Trump called Jim Acosta a terrible, terrible man and horrible, horrible man, and then they revoked his White House privileges to attend the press conferences. And then, that they filed a lawsuit. CNN filed a lawsuit against the White House. Donald Trump, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, a number of people that were involved in the revocation of Jim Acosta's license or press credentials at the White House. Okay, so, bam, we're caught up. Now, here's where we are, guys. Do you know that Jim Acosta is getting a lot of support, not just from CNN and MSNBC, but also from Fox News? Yeah. Fox News, CBS News, and other outlets back CNN in legal fight against the White House. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what's going on? Fox News has filed a friend of the court brief in federal court in support of CNN's lawsuit. A lawsuit against the Trump administration for revoking correspondent Jim Acosta's hard pass. Guys, I'm shocked. And then when I thought about it, I said, you know what, maybe the way Fox News looks at it, they don't want this type of treatment to happen to them. And maybe someone would possibly remember, like, at some point there's going to be a Democrat in office, there'll be a Democrat president, and maybe then the shoe will be on the other foot. Now, I don't know if that's the reasoning, but I was thinking, like, what's in it for Fox News? I mean, Trump can't like this. Look, all I know is pretty much anything that Trump does, everything Trump does, it seems, except, work with Democrats on anything, Fox News supports it. So the fact that Fox News is going against the grain and supporting CNN over Donald Trump, CNN with the fake news, that has to mean something, guys. that says something. And I don't think it's altruistic. I don't think because they empathize. I don't think it's because they like Jim Acosta. I think it's something in it for Fox News to do this. There's got to be a reason, something that benefits Fox News. Or it's either that or a preemptive move to protect them later. That's just what I think about it. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Shout out to Tim Black's Wolfpack. Everybody in my Wolfpack, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for rolling with us as we make changes and try to make this show better. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but if you missed the show or if you just tuned in, don't worry. I will be playing replays of the show, okay, throughout the rest of the evening and until tomorrow as we roll into a new show. This is a way to give more exposure to what we do, let more people tune into the news, and if my friends miss the show, they can check it out. All right? All right. All right, guys, that's it for me. Have a great evening. Remember, don't let nobody take your cornbread, and sprinkle some facts on them. Also, if you have Roku, be sure to add me on Roku. It's Tim Black TV. I'm over there on Roku. Black independent media is a rare thing, guys. I want to thank you for supporting it. Serious, real talk, guys. Thank you for supporting Black independent media. Black independent media on the left is very rare. I don't know why it's so few of us, but I just want to say thank you. You are proof that you are listening to a black man from a black perspective that does not kiss Democratic Party ass, but does not stump for Trump, but just tries to call it straight. And that says something about you guys. And for my black viewers who are finding this show, who also have been here for a long time, I want to thank you for holding it down and having my back all this time as well. Tim Black's Wolfpack has been around for almost 6 years. So I want to thank everybody who supports what we do. You're not some Tommy. You're my family. I love you, and I see you on the next one. Peace.
Tim Black. Tim Black. Tim Black. Yes, I am. True. Funny. Tim Black. I am TimBlack.com.